Welcome gallery, staff and councillors to Richmond Valley Council's ordinary meeting of the 17th of December 2024. I'll open the meeting with the acknowledgement of country. Richmond Valley Council recognise the people of the Bundjalung Nations as custodians and traditional owners of this land, and we value and appreciate the continuing culture connections to lands, their living culture and their unique role in the life of this region in the past, present and future. Item 2, Mr General Manager, could you read the prayer please?
Dear Lord, we meet to serve our Richmond Valley community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly and to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognise our responsibility to the past and the future and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Public access, item 3, there is no public access request. Apologies, we have a full house. There is no mayoral minute, but I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank Lisa and the records team for decorating the room tonight. It's much appreciated, and would you let them know their appreciation, please, Mr General Manager. Item 6 on page 6, confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 19th of November 2024. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Morrissey, and a seconder.
Yeah,
Councillor Hayes, thank you. Is there any issues with the accuracy of those minutes? No, I'll put that motion and all those in favour. Item 7, matters arising out of those minutes. Has any councillor got any matters arising? Councillor Morrissey.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor. Just in my notes last meeting, I just forgot to mention in relation to item 12.1, delegates report from the Rouse County Council meeting, just to congratulate you on being appointed chair of Rouse again.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Any other issues? Item 8, declarations of interest. Has any councillor got any declarations? Mr General Manager, I believe you have had some handed to you.
Yes, I have. So first one, Councillor Hayes, item 19.1, which is in relation to the Beach Street traffic calming report. Councillor Hayes is an applicant for a DA along that street. It's a non-pecuniary insignificant conflict. The other 3 declarations I have are from the Mayor, Councillor Mustoe, Councillor Humphreys and Councillor Murray. They're all for item 19.6, which is the outcome of our Community Financial Assistance Program. And each of those have identified a non-pecuniary insignificant conflict. I just have so Councillor Mustoe's volunteer with the cycling without age, Councillor Humphreys volunteer with that group, and Councillor Murray Mid-Richmond Neighbourhood Centre. So
yes, that's right. They're a client, and I volunteer with them as well.
Yep. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. They're the 4 that I had.
Yeah, none from the staff?
No.
Thank you. Item 9, petitions, nil. Notice of motions, nil. We'll now turn the page and go to page 8, 11.1, mayoral attendances report. I'll move that.
I'll second, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions? I'd just like to raise that it's been a very busy time, and the Deputy Mayor has covered me a few occasions and filled in for me on the Deadly Day Futures Career Expo at the Casino Primary School, Casino Lions, Gunthorpe Shield Public Speaking Competition, the Year 12 formal. I was actually in Sydney that night. Casino CWA luncheon, Christmas lunch, and I know this year on many occasions he's donned the big red suit and in various towns in our Richmond Valley area, so thank you for that. I'll put that motion then. All those in favour? Carried. Delegates' reports, nil. Matters determined without debate. Has any councillor got any matters determined without debate? Councillor Walker.
14.1, Mr Mayor, and 17.2.
And 17.2. Thank you. I've got 15.2. 15.3 and 17.4. Any others?
Thank you.
Councillor Humphries?
I'd just like to bring out 15.3. Thanks.
Sorry, what was it?
15.3.
I've already
did
called
you say
it. Yep. Thank you. So that tells me I need a motion, Mr General Manager, for 15.1, 16.1, 17.1, 17.3. Could I get a mover?
Move that way.
Thank you, Councillor Humphries.
I'll second, Mr Mayor.
I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried. 14.1 on page 10. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a question, if I could, to the General Manager. Could I just ask that, apart from formally adopting the final plan, how does staff see the role of the governing body as elected representatives in developing the plan?
Mr General Manager.
So this report is obviously the engagement strategy, so it will set out over the next few months a range of opportunities for our staff to lead, but also for councillors to attend. So there is the opportunity for councillors to be involved in the consultation sessions that we have with the community. That will ramp up from the start of February. Through January, it will be focused around our libraries that we have across the valley to engage with our community. So from an engagement perspective, our councillors, you'll be invited and have the opportunity to attend those sessions and engage with the community, have conversations. They will be, we tend to have them more focused around pop-ups and having discussions, ideas boards and other things. We've also, so as far as the governing body's involvement in the plans, we will be reporting back to you regularly on what that consultation is finding. Obviously, the initial input was our State of the Valley report, but we will be providing you with reports, draft plans and other briefings on key findings from the consultation, and giving you all the opportunity to have input and give direction to the final content of our community strategic plan.
Do you want to move the motion?
I'll move the motion, Mr Mayor.
Seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Humphries. Do you want to speak on that, Councillor? Councillor Humphries.
Yeah, thank you. Further to that involvement, I'd like it to be put out there at some of these sessions how important the review on the CSP is for councillors. I myself, I use it to inform me about decisions that I'll make over the next term, because that's what I believe this is all about. We're going to our community and we're saying, look, tweak this, have a look at this review. What do you need tweaked? What do you need added back in? What are your priorities? Tell us what you want. But then, for me, council needs to needs to get on with the job and find the resources and extra funding if it's needed. But it'll be my guide and my reference forward. So I'd just like that it's a really important tool.
Any other speakers? Councillor Murray.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, I'm just interested, being a new councillor, if there has been any insights-driven changes to the current engagement strategy based on the last iteration of this document.
Mr General Manager.
Sorry, the question, can you
So-
repeat the
So
question?
basically, you've done a engagement strategy, I'm assuming, in the previous term, and we're doing another one. So I'm just wondering what learnings and insights did we take from the first strategic application of that strat, and then what learnings are we taking into this one?
I'll get our Chief of Staff, who's led the development of this strategy, to explain that for us.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Murray, for the question. Looking at our past engagement strategy, we certainly learned from experimenting with some engagement techniques, which ones worked well in our community and which did not. We found that people responded more to practical, hands-on, directing engagement, so we've added more of that into the strategy. We've also learned that people are more interested in having online options and a central point to go to engage in online options, so we've added that into our process as well. So just based on observing how we went in the last engagement, being mindful, of course, it was interrupted by the flood, so it was a bit of a challenging engagement space, but we've brought forward what worked well, and we're adding a few new things to experiment with. The biggest change is to bring in our libraries, because we realised that a lot of people use our libraries on a regular basis, and we weren't perhaps using that space as much as we could to engage directly. So there's another change that we've brought into this iteration.
Thank you. I have another quick question. I have gone through this in quite detail because this is what I do for my day job as well, and just interested in looking at the target market and the channels that you've selected. So I can see the goal is 10% response rates. Do we look at the channels by target market and assign an objective based on that? So at the end we can reflect and look at which demographics we've been able to feed into that funnel, or not?
As we gather up the submissions, so we keep detailed records of every submission that's made, whether it's just a comment or a written submission. We usually identify the demographic, like the age, male or female, where the person came from. So we often ask them which location they're from, or we can record that from the basis of where the comment was collected. We're of course able to track which comments came in online and which came in through direct engagement as well. So that's the level of tracking that we do at this stage.
And through you, Mr Mayor, is that something that we should be capturing in this strategic document as a reflective piece on what those performance metrics were last time, so we can kind of continue to build that success story term by term?
I think we can. So yeah, we'll monitor that. I mean, we certainly we generally put together consultation reports, so that'll pull all that information together, and so where we're able to identify those metrics, we can highlight that, for yours and the community's interest.
Great, thank you.
There's also been a lot of work done previously after the floods, the recovery process. We've been to the community with that, and all as well as the place plans, and I think they were consulted for about 6 months. So they will all feed into this document. So there's been a lot of work started already.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, and I just recognise the importance of this document as Councillor Humphreys mentioned before, is the guiding light over the next 4 years. So yep. I guess the intention of my feedback is I just want to make sure that we're covering all bases to make sure we can get a really diverse share of voice feeding back into that final document.
That's why they all feed into this, because this is the #1 document.
Great,
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other speakers? Right, a reply.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I appreciate there's a lot of work being done and there are many channels in which we'll get input, but I was hoping that we may have an opportunity as a body to meet as a cohort of our own to discuss strategy and outcomes. It's fine for councillors to individually attend sessions and go to libraries, but I wonder as a body whether or not there is an advantage, not just in sitting here taking a report and considering it, or even the final plan, but to actually sit down and workshop as a group what outcomes and strategies we may believe we need. So I could just ask if the General Manager could take that on board. Otherwise, I'll close the debate, Mr. Mayor.
I know that closes the debate, but we do get updates as we go along, like at information session. No?
Incorporate that into our,
Yep.
into our program.
Yep, be good. Yep, okay. I'll put that vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. What am I up to? 15.2. I think I called it. Yeah. I was just, sorry, 15.2? Yeah. Section 711, heavy haulage contribution plan. The reason I call this, because it's a planning issue and it needed to be called under the Local Government Act, so I'm just going to move the motion and I need a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Cornish, thank you. There's not much to say on it. As I said, it needed to be called, but when you see the amount of increase and the weight of the trucks and compared to the CPI, it's just blown out of the water. So we need to take, I suppose, measures that in the future we can raise some money to fix the roads that's been damaged by these trucks. But as the report says, anyone on the original and the previous agreement, they'll only go up the CPI until there's a new project in the wings. Any other speakers? Put their motion in. All those in favour? Carried. Councillor Humphreys, I call 15.3. I think that's what you wanted. Do you want to move it? Okay, I'll move that then. Seconder? Councillor Humphreys?
Second.
Councillors, I just, it's a really good outcome and it's good to see our staff being recognised at the high end and being rewarded. And we also must remember that Mr. Cash was also one of our workers when we won the best tasting water in Australia. So he's really performed well for our community and for Richmond Valley Council, and it's great to see him rewarded. And Mr. General Manager, I'd like to see if you could send him a letter of congratulations from the council body. I think that'd be appropriate.
Yep, I can do that. No, he's certainly, he's the leader in that space for a long period of time, and obviously a big part of that result around particularly the drinking water. But it's good, yeah, it's always good for anyone to get some recognition, so it was good news.
Councillor Humphreys.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I saw David's photo, I think it was on a Facebook post, he looked so proud of himself and rightly so. So yeah, I was just wanting to bring that out and congratulate him publicly as well.
Any other speakers? Put that motion in. All those in favour? Carried. Now move to page 23, 16.1, Old Casino Neighbourhood Centre, 31 Walker Street. Sorry, what am I on? 17.2. Oh, I've left a tag there. I shouldn't have. Review on councillors' investments. I'll move that. I have a question. Oh, do you call that? I'm sorry. I always say I had a question. Councillor Walker. Do you want to move it or ask a question?
A question. The report goes to the issue of investment performance, and I wondered if the Director could outline how our investment returns compare with other councils in the JO or peer groups and whether or not that comparison may be included in future reports.
Yeah, the first question, Councillor Walker, I don't know if we've actually done that work to have a look at where we're sitting in regards with other councils in this area. I'd say it'd be pretty similar, but couldn't answer that definite. We can certainly bring a report back to council with that information in it, and there's no reason why we couldn't actually include something like that in our financial analysis reports going forward.
Want to move it?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll move the motion.
All right. You don't need to include that in the, Mr General Manager. We'll just take that on note.
No, that's fine. Obviously, I think it'd need to be done, in arrears to assess the other councils that table these reports, whether we do it on a quarterly basis. But that's something that Director Gator and the team can have a look at. I think it's always good to compare how we're travelling and whether there's better value for our dollar available in the market. So happy to do that.
I need a seconder, please.
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Murray. Did you want to speak to that, Councillor Walker? Do you want to speak to it?
No, not really, Mr Mayor. I think just the importance of comparative data is, if others are doing well, obviously you can learn from it, and it goes to the heart of the policy of, where we are investing and how proportionate mixes go. So if you see another council that might be earning 0.5% more, it can really help you look at options. So that's why I moved it.
Councillor Murray, seconder.
Yes, I've got a few questions. Being new to the table, and maybe others know answers to this, but just reading in the report about the reference to volatility in relation to the political landscape. Just wondering if there was any specifics around that comment.
Director.
Sorry. Yeah. Not specifics. It's just virtually the volatility around the markets at the time. So depending on what's happening in the world, the markets go up and down. As you see, a few years ago we had a not so successful year when COVID and whatnot was in and things like that impact the market. So that's what that comment was about.
Just got a couple more. Just reading about the environmental sustainable investments are considered when they are equal or better or have better return than other investments being considered. Through you, Mr Mayor, just wanting a question. Is there a percentage of what our portfolio that's leveraged on fossil fuels at the moment, and what is that percentage? When I read the attachments, I think it was 45%, but I just wanted clarity on whether that is actually our portfolio leveraged against fossil fuels.
Yeah, so at this point in time, we've got 54.6% of our investments not directly invested, with no direct investment in fossil fuels. So yeah, 46% would have some. It may not be direct, but it may be an investment in an investment, if you follow what I mean.
Yeah, understand that. Thank you. And then just further to that, have we done any risk assessments around the decline in coal-fired power stations and switching off of coal over the next 20, 30 years, and what impact that might have if we've got 46% of our investment portfolio in some capacity invested in fossil fuels?
No, not at this point in time.
Is that something we would consider, given the current landscape?
Yeah, we could, yeah.
It would be, I don't know how you'd gauge that. There most probably would be information out there like that, but I can tell you, I think it's 54, you said, %. That rate's pretty high compared to some other councils. I was surprised the other day when I heard some of the other comments by councillors, and we were pretty up there.
Is that something we can also tap into our advisors at Laminar?
That's where we'd have to go to them.
I was going to say they may have that. Well, yep. I'd hope they are thinking about that sort of stuff. So it might be a question that we can ask them to give us some advice on.
Thank you very much.
Council also has a policy or guidelines that will invest in those companies that don't do fossil fuel, but if it's going to cost the ratepayer a lot of money from not investing with other ones where we can get the extra higher rate, we go with the higher rate.
I completely appreciate that. We want the best performing asset for sure, but I think what I'm kind of alluding to is that, you know, investments we make today are going to be 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the future. So just making sure that we are thinking ahead and making sure that we aren't caught out when that transition really does kick in, and there is a heavy decline, and you can see at the coal-fired power station in Wallerawang's being decommissioned, and coal mines are closing by the day. So I guess all I'm saying is bringing to the table today is making sure that we're thinking ahead as that work to transition does continue, that our investments are secure for the next generation.
Just to add, we are using New South Wales Treasury Corp for a significant portion of our medium and long-term funding, and I'm sure that this is an issue that they're keeping a close eye on, being the government's Treasury Corporation. So again, we have relationships with them, so that's someone else that we can ask these questions about, and come back to you, on what are the likely effects and over what period of time. They're the two products we have that are of a medium to longer term horizon. A lot of our other investments are around term deposits, which are obviously over a shorter period of time.
That would be great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can I just add, so the ones that are actually invested in the fossil fuels at the moment, they are long-term, not long-term, they are term deposits. So, and it's with our major banks. The longer-term investments don't have a direct impact on fossil fuels at this point in time.
That's great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Now, my question, on page 30, there's 3 dots there. The middle dot, update amount to be held in councils at call accounts from 3.5 million to 10 million due to an increase in creditor payments for capital works under liability and maturity. That's a big jump from 3.5 to 10, and I know it mostly relates to flood recovery, but I just needed to ask that question. It's a huge jump. So
I'll let Director Gator respond to that one.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, that's directly involved with the big payments we've had to make for a lot of our larger capital works programs when they'll get a final payment in. Some of those can be 6, 7, 8 million. Then when you've got that cooped up with the rest of your creditor run, some of our payment runs are up around the 8, 9 million mark.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to bring that out so it didn't go through without being noted. Any other speakers? Right of reply, Councillor. Put that motion and all those in favour? Carried. I believe we're on 17.4, page 34, Audit Risk and Improvement Committee Work Plan and Non-Voting Member Nomination. The reason I call this because in the recommendation it says Council considers an appointment of a non-voting councillor member to Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. So I'll move the motion, if I can get a seconder, please. And we can, if we decide to have a non-voting councillor, we can amend it.
Second.
Councillor Humphries. Councillors, just before we get into it, I'll just speak to it and point out a few highlights I found in the report. The council has the option of appointing a non-voting councillor as a member of the ARIC. The committee is an authorised body only. It exercises no administrative functions, has no delegated financial responsibilities, and does not perform any management functions of council. Under section 216C of the Local Government General Regulations 2021, councils may appoint one non-voting council member who meets the criteria for councillor members. The mayor cannot be appointed as a councillor member of a council's Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee. Down there it says the guidelines for the risk management internal audit specify the following criteria for council members, and then over the page it says councillors will got a preparedness to undertake any training on the operation of audit, risk and improvement committees recommended by the chairperson based on their assessment, which would be by the chairperson, of the skills, knowledge and experience of the councillor member. I just wanted to make, if a councillor goes on it, aware of what they're required to do under the Act. So I'm in your hands. At Rouse, Councillor Humphries and I, as delegates, we previous term, Rouse had a delegate on there, Councillor Big Rob, and his experience in the legal field, he done a very good job reporting back. And now we have a councillor from Hague from Byron Bay. So it's up to the council what they would like to do. Or we can stay as we are. Councillor Humphries as seconder.
No, thank you.
Has any other councillor got any input or would like to nominate themselves? Go feel free. Councillor Walker.
Just some input, Mr Mayor. I truly believe it's important that the council has a representative on this committee. As you see in the circulated papers, the ARIC continuously reviews and provides independent advice to the council on how it is functioning and managing risks. So a link between council as the elected body and the ARIC, I think, is really important. So I would encourage council to make an appointment to ARIC and provide a conduit between the bodies.
And I'm waiting for a nomination if anyone would like to do it.
Well, in that case, I nominate Councillor Walker. He seems to have the most experience around the table of local government, and I think he would be a suitably qualified candidate for that role.
Do you accept the nomination, councillor?
Mr Mayor, I decline. I decline, if I could, for two reasons. One, I think ex-general managers make bad councillors, and I'm starting to realise that. But secondly, when I read the minutes of the meeting, it disturbed me that the ARIC meeting, in fact, has 9 members of staff attending. So you've got 3 independent ARIC members, 9 members of Richmond Valley Council staff attend, plus 2 members of the audit office staff, plus the internal auditor. That's 12 people over a short period of time, and I can't see how I would fit. So I decline.
Thank you, that's declined. Is there any other nominations or anyone want to put their hand up? All right, I will just put the motion as it is. And sorry? Well, if we don't... Yeah. Yep. I'll put that motion and all those in favour. Carried, thank you. Go to page 37. Item 18, there's general business, there's none. Nil. Go over the page to page 38. Matters for information. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Cornish and a seconder, Councillor Morrissey. Councillor Cornish, have you any items? Councillor Morrissey? I'll go first then, if nobody wants to have a crack. Councillor Hayes, okay.
Sorry,
Didn't have his light on.
Yeah, just on the grant applications, I see there we've been successful. If you go to page 45 on the grant applications, halfway down the page there, we've been successful in a Transport for New South Wales state grant for the pathway from to continue from Evans Head out to Woodburn from the village out. It's what is it? Sorry, next page we're on, aren't we? I'm at one too many. Sorry, page 43. Sorry, not page 45. And on the bottom there, Transport for New South Wales state grant road safety program, $5,392,000 successful grant.
Yep.
That's a great outcome for that, for those projects, to link those paths. And further on page 45, there's a grant being put in for the design work, to fund the design work for the third side of the triangle, which is from Woodburn to Broadwater.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's well and truly underway, and I'm just wondering if the General Manager can comment on a work program for that, when it was likely to get underway.
And Mr General Manager, while you're on, I've had a couple of highlights. I noticed down the bottom there's also an application in now for 6.7 million for the Broadwater to Evans, and Council's contribution will be 1.7 million towards that. But I'd just like to know, if you, as Councillor Hayes, where we're up to of all the design work of the whole triangle, we call it, down the lower river, joining the villages together. If you could give us a whole brief of that, please.
Yeah, so the Three Villages cycleway was obviously one of the top items of feedback when we were doing our mid-Richmond place plans. So has a strong level of support from those three communities that it will connect. So we've built the first stage was built some years back from Broadwater to Broadwater Beach, and so the one that we have applied for funding is to take that from Broadwater Beach Road into Evans Head. So that's the aim of getting that leg done. This funding, which has very recently been announced, will take the cycleway from the Riverside Village, which is where the current cycleway extends from Evans Head out to that village, and it will extend from there right the way through to Woodburn. So that's what this funding announcement is for. And we've also submitted, the other one is to get the design work done for the section between Woodburn and Broadwater. So we'd obviously had design work done for the other two, and again, if you've got an idea that's in your strategic plans and then you have your designs done, puts you in a good place to be successful with grant funding. There will be, so this was announced recently, we'll put a media release out to inform the community, obviously beyond this meeting, to give them the good news. As far as construction goes, our aim is to begin construction in the first half of next year. We've obviously got plenty happening, so we just need to work out our procurement approach and delivery and availability. But the aim would be to start it in the first half of next year, and it's expected that construction would take up to 12 months, potentially quicker, obviously depending on contractor availability, etc. So that's the program at this stage.
Answer the question. Councillor Walker.
Mr Mayor, 19.7, the Local Traffic Committee, I was intrigued the other day when I heard on the news that the Bruxton Highway would have 6 kilometres of its width, its length, subject to 80 km/h restrictions because of a koala corridor. Given most of the traffic on that highway is casino based, I wondered whether or not this council was consulted about that, even though it's in Lismore, and if we were consulted, what our response was.
Mr General Manager, heard anything?
You have, Director Zeller, have an awareness?
Through you, Mr Mayor, no, we weren't consulted. Actually had a discussion with my asset planning manager today about following that up, because obviously that's, you know, from an economic perspective, that has a huge effect on casino and the traffic going that way, so we'll be following that one up.
And our local member has commented to me on it. Didn't know nothing about it. So. And it actually starts just past our boundary.
Because it's on a highway, it wouldn't have gone to a local traffic committee, so it's just a state-based Transport New South Wales decision, and maybe even the politicians didn't know about it.
I believe
we'll ask some questions and find out.
I believe what will happen out of that, it will put a lot more traffic on the Nortons Gap Road. Also on page 38, we have Beach Street Traffic Calming Report Update, 19.1. I'm pleased to see that this has come to council and we've got some options there, and it's going to go out to public consultation. The community can have their input into it, and I look forward to that. But as the report says, the construction phase of the project is currently unfunded, and I think we need to, when we go out to community consultation, we need to make that quite clear, because sometimes the community will think it's going to happen in the next 6 months or so. That I think needs to be put out there.
Yeah, well, I think we can tie that into the fact that this work has actually been funded by a program through Transfer for New South Wales. It's obviously been an issue of concern for some time that both ourselves and the police in particular have had a lot of feedback about. So again, you've got to do this sort of work so that you've got some detailed designs or concept designs ready for road safety programs that will follow. So that'll definitely be something that we'll focus on to secure some grant funding to deliver what ultimately you will decide is the best option to slow people down.
Any other items? Councillor Cornish, no right of reply. I'll put that motion in. All those in favour? Carried. We'll now go over to page 70. Questions on notices nil. 21. Questions for the next meeting in writing. Has any councillor got any questions for the next meeting? No. And before we go into closed council, I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish the gallery and the viewers online all the best for the festive season. A prosperous 2025. If anyone's travelling, please come back to us safely. So I now need a motion to go into closed council. Councillor Morrissey.
I'll second that.
Councillor Murray. Is there any representation from the gallery why council shouldn't go into closed council? Mr. General Manager, have you had any written representation?
No, none received.
Thank you everyone for your attendance and have a safe trip home. Thank you. I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. No one? No one there? Mr General Manager, could you read the resolutions of closed council, please?
Yeah, I'll leave that to Directors Zeller and Jones, respectively. Thank you.
Directors?
In the item 22.1, resolve that council notes the current tender for construction of a concrete roundabout on the Bruxner Highway and Patricia Street Casino with the terms of the associated government funding deed requiring funding expenditure by 30 June 2025. 2, delegates authority to the General Manager under Section 377 of the Local Government Act 1993 to assess the tender issued on the 22nd of November 2024 and closing on the 6th of January 2025 and award the relevant contract to the successful tenderer subject to the limitations of Section 377 and the following conditions. 1, the successful tender must be within the approved budget and agreed scope for the project. 2, the terms and conditions of the contract awarded to the successful tenderer must align with the requirements of the relevant funding deed. 3, consultation with the Mayor prior to awarding the contract. Point 3, should no complying tenders be received, applies clause 1783E of the Local Government General Regulation 2021 to authorise the General Manager to enter direct negotiations with suitably qualified contractors with a view to obtaining works that provide council with the best outcome, both from a financial and delivery perspective, and to finalise the terms of the contract or agreement after consultation with the Mayor and affixing the seal of council where necessary. And point 4 notes that the outcome of the tender and/or negotiations will be reported to council for information at a future meeting.
In relation to item 22.2, Fire and Rescue New South Wales Fire Safety Report, council resolved that council endorses the recommendation of council certifier that a fire safety order is issued, which requires a report from a suitably qualified fire engineer to be provided to council within 3 months.
Thank you. Just before I close, I'd like to thank your councillors for your input since the elections, and those that were here before. Thank you very much, and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a very good 2025. I'm looking forward. It's going to be a big year, especially with the community strategic plan and a lot of our works and flood recovery. So we've got a lot ahead of us, and everyone have a relaxing, calm time, and I look forward to seeing you at Australia Day at Broadwater. So, thank you.